When I was at Squarespace Circle Day back in September, we spoke quite a lot about AI and how Squarespace plans to use AI in their website building process, in the website refinement process, and basically all through the Squarespace product. And what stood out to me was that they don't want to use it in the traditional way. They want to do it the Squarespace way. I'm not quite sure what that is, but they want to do it their way. And one thing that stood out in particular to me was the AI builder and what that could do in terms of giving DIYers a really good on-ramp into the ecosystem to get them live really quickly. So you can have your templates, which is great, but you can have something more custom, which is the AI. I think it's called Squarespace Design Intelligence, maybe. But basically, what this will do is it will take your needs. So let's say, you have a store, you're an art company, you are, whatever. There's a few things that you can take and toggle, and then you can have your kind of own bespoke site built within 5 minutes. Now, I'm going to walk you through what will take a lot longer than 5 minutes. It's going to be roughly an hour-long video of me refining the site. But if you want to just get, a starting point ready, you can do that in a few minutes. So you'll see at the start, we're going to go through the AI site building process. That should take a few minutes. Then we're going to refine it. So I'm going to give you a live view of how long this would roughly take to go from idea all the way through to actually publishing the site. So let's go over to the screen. If you've got any questions about Squarespace AI whatsoever, drop them in the comments. And if you want me to build your Squarespace website, then you can get in touch using the links in the description. And just as a side note, before we get into anything, I did record this intro and then I had like a piece of fluff on my chin and then a piece of fluff on my neck, and it looked really weird. So since then, I've had a haircut and I'm wearing something different. Ignore that. Enjoy the video. Obviously, the first thing that we need to do is get a brief. So I've gone into ChatGPT and I've said, give me a web design brief for a real estate agency website. It must include homepage, about page, current properties, a blog, contact, privacy policy. And then I said, you choose the niche and specifics of the brief. It will be built on Squarespace using AI. I say AI, I'm sure it'll be a fair bit of me as well. So let me shrink this on down. Perfect. And then I said, it's for a YouTube video, so make it cool. Now you can see the specifics of the brief here. The company name is Lux Living Real Estate Website, built on Squarespace. And then these are the target audience. So high net worth individuals, luxury property buyers and investors, affluent families looking for upscale homes. Ooh. And then we've got international clients as well, apparently, with a focus on the US, Europe, and Asia. So then it's going to break down what we want on the homepage, what we want on the about page, properties, blog, contact, and privacy policy with some design considerations as well. Now, project timeline is interesting. 6 weeks. This is, the usual, I guess, but I'm going to try and build it in 25 minutes using AI. So we shall see. I'm happy that I had the Ralph Lauren on today. I'm feeling very affluent. Building for these families with the Ralph Lauren on. Anyway, let's get into it. So I'm going to go over to Squarespace here. Let me resize this. Okay, there we go. So I'm on Squarespace. What you need to do is simply just click Get Started. So that's going to throw us into this screen here. So you can select I'm just browsing, and that will send you into like random template selectors. In fact, let's just do that. You can see all the different templates that you can have. These are popular designs, but if you click on all templates, you will see all templates. Collaborations, the most recent one was with Jeff Koons. Where is he? Interesting. I don't see it. Anyway, let's say you click on one. You can scroll through and use the site how you would usually. You can also see it on mobile by clicking up here. So if you just want like a standard template, that's where you get it. Now, we want to use AI. So let's go back all the way to Get Started. So we click on Get Started and it's going to throw us into here. So we have, if we refer back to the brief, a real estate agency website. So we're going to look for real estate and properties hit next. And then if we look again at the brief, we want home, about, a place for current properties, a blog, contact and privacy policy. So we have some options here. We want to sell products to a degree. In fact, we can probably leave that off because you're not going to purchase a property through a website. You're going to book to go and see it, in which case we want to get appointments, promote physical business, a contact form. We want to sell services and a blog and showcase work and expertise. So hit next and then build with AI. So after this, you can go into the templates that we showed, but for the sake of this video, we're going to build with AI. So now it's going to prompt us to actually sign up for Squarespace, which we can do here. So continue with Google, or you can sign up with your email or Apple in this case, but I'm just going to sign up via Gmail now. And once we've done that, it's going to throw us into the AI builder itself. So it'll take a second to load up, and you can see it's going to generate some AI text based on what it knows about us so far. So the site title is going to be your website's name or your business's name. So we're going to get Lux Living Real Estate website. Well, Lux Living Real Estate. We'll paste that in. And let's see, do we want it to be sophisticated, playful, bold, friendly, quirky, or innovative? I'm going to go with sophisticated because what we know based on the brief is that this is for high net worth individuals in the luxury sector. So we'll select sophisticated, and you can see a text sample here. So discover luxurious living with impeccable attention to detail, etc., etc. Click next, and now you can see that we can build our homepage. So we want an intro section. We probably don't want a product section, so you can see here we don't really want this, but you can change the layout. So I'm looking at this, and you can actually see it's generating imagery, which is amazing. I am going to think outside the box here, and I'm going to say I like this because we can change this to featured property. So just take a moment to think, okay, it says it's for this purpose, so products section, but could I use this section for something else? Like if you think it looks good, then you can add it in. Services, let's see, what can we do here? I think this works really nicely with the drop downs because we can have all of our services listed within small real estate, small screen real estate. So like not sheets and sheets of text. Appointment section, we probably don't need this on the homepage. We can probably get away with just a contact form. So what I'm going to do is take that off. We don't need digital products. About will work well. So let's take a quick look at these. I like this section because the grey breaks up the white that we've had so far. Now, if I just quickly go back into the intro section, I want to change the layout. I'm looking at this thinking this needs something extra. So let's take a look through these. I'm torn between these two. That has a little bit of something that I like. So I'm going to probably, when we go into the editor, move this up a little bit. But apart from that, I think we're looking good. Social, we probably don't need social. We definitely want forms. So we want people to be able to get in touch. Let's see what would work well in this instance. We don't want to overdo the images. So let's go with this. And then obviously we're going to want a footer. So a footer is basically just a place where you can try and grab someone's attention right at the last moment. And then we also want to link to things like phone number, email, other pages on the site, your privacy policy, terms of service if you have those. So let's take a quick look at this, and you can see we've got the corresponding pages in this one. So I like that. Let's go for that. Next, we're going to look at some pages. So based on our brief, we know that we want home, about, current properties, blog, contact, privacy policy. So let's say we want about, contact, services can be repurposed to current properties. You don't need to do that. You can just add a page in if you wish. Appointments, we probably don't need that, but what I'm going to do is keep that in and probably copy and paste that into the contact section itself so we can merge these pages. Shop, we don't need that. Course, we don't need that. And you can see Squarespace will recommend things that it thinks that you do and don't need. And if we look at this, we can scroll through the various pages just to get a feel for what these are going to look like. So let's hit next. Now we can look at some colors. So you can change these individually. You don't just have to stick with a palette. When you're in the site, and we can go through this, you can play around with these. So you look at this recommended. It's going to hover over, it's going to be above this and tell you what it thinks it should have. Now, if we're talking about high net worth individuals, we want quite classy colours, and I don't think these bright, well, you can see here above it says, so sophisticated. These are all okay, but I actually just quite like this simple white, grey, and like a black overlay. So we're going to stick with that. Hit next, and then we want to change our font. So again, I think the AI's got it quite accurate here. Let's try sophisticated. And that is quite good. And again, this can all be changed. So don't think once you've picked something, you have to stick with it. And you see, I'm looking at man rope. Hopefully I was saying that right. I actually think that works better. Now, this is under friendly, but I think that works better than Roboto. But what I'm thinking, Marcellus actually looks better. What I'm thinking is I'm going to keep my Marcellus, hopefully I've got that right as well, as a header, but I'm going to use this Nonito Sans as the body, so the paragraph text. So I'm going to click this for now, and then we're going to change this when we go into the site itself. So click finish up. Squarespace is going to do its blueprinty goodness. If I move me, you can see it updating here. So pretty quick considering we're getting a whole website built. And now, if we look at this, you can see we've got our hero section. This will be featured properties, services, about the company, contact, and footer. Then we've got our services, which I am going to change to available properties, about. So who we are, got the auto-generated AI imagery, which is really nice. And then contact. Book, now we can remove that. So we've got a really good base here. And something like this, not long ago would take a good couple of days, maybe longer to build out. So the fact that we have this, and it's not a template, it's built via our input, is fantastic. Now, first thing that we need to do is change this text, because I don't like a sans serif, a serif font, which is like this, this type of font. You'll see if we click this brush up here, and then we go into fonts. So when you hover over things, you can see the pack. So the font pack, color pack, buttons, like really nice. Now we go into fonts and paragraph. I want to change PT serif to Roboto. So browse all fonts, and you can see everything here. Now, to make life easy, I'm just going to search Roboto, and there we go, lovely. And I can customize that even further with the line height. So let's keep that at 1.5. I can change the letter spacing. We'll keep that. Let's keep it there. Then the actual sizing itself. If I've got it wrong, like I obviously have done here, you can click back until you get it to where you want it to be. We can also change the weight. So I think a weight of, let's see, I don't see any change. Yeah, until there. We'll keep it at 100. So now already this is looking really, really good. Hit save. And if we click on the mobile icon, you can see that we can edit our mobile version as well. So if I come out of the site styles area, you can move things about on mobile only, and that's not reflected on desktop, which is really nice. So I'm going to hit save, exit, and then just take stock of the site. So if we refer back to the brief, we've got the site name in, we've got the foundations built. Now we need to go a little bit further into what each page needs. So the purpose of the home page is going to be to establish brand identity and invite users to explore. And the sections that we need within there are going to be full screen background image of stunning luxury property. There we go. Then we're going to want a main call to action, find your dream home. So we have learn more at the moment. All I need to do is double click on this button, find your dream home, and we're going to edit this to go to properties. And if you want to change your buttons, you can make them fit or fill, and basically fit will fit it to the text, fill will fill the entire container. So design, and you can change from primary, secondary and tertiary and set your buttons to be different. So we'll stick with secondary, keep it on fill, and we're going to drag this down, and you can see it will fill the entire container no matter how big or small it is. Let's move this up a jot, and I also, as I said, I want to move this up here so you can see the grid come up and we can align this wherever we want. That looks good to me. We can also shrink these down or make them taller, and then we'll bring this up, sit it right underneath, hit save, and then I'm going to go into the mobile version and do the same. So we want to make sure that that is all on one line. Probably bring it down a little bit, and then we'll bring this up too, and this up. There we go. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Now, secondary CTA to get in touch. This is where the different types of buttons come in handy. So if we want a CTA to book a call, what we could do is click on this button and duplicate it, and then sit it next to this button like this. But what we can do is then change it so it has no outline. Now that's the tertiary button style. If I want to change that, I would then go into site styles. I would go into buttons, find tertiary, and then what we want to do is give that an outline like so, and you can see it's an underline. But I don't like that. I want something different. So I'm going to keep it the same style like so, but I'm going to fill it. So click fill, and I'm going to take that outline off like so. And you can see when I exit that we've now got two calls to action. So obviously this doesn't say the right thing. I need to go back in, double click, and let's just make sure this is right. Get in touch, change that, edit, and then we want this to go to contact. Perfect. We click that, it's linked up. Make sure it works on mobile, because when you add things in, it's not always perfect. In here, we could sit them over two lines. So if I bring this in and this in, the buttons can then be over two lines. I'm not a huge fan, but it could work in this scenario. We'll keep that as it is. Move this up. Let's put it. That looks right to me. Move this up. Hit save. Always make sure you're saving your progress. And we're looking good. So you can see just from this alone. So this has taken me, from the very start to now, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And we're only on the hero section. But we have a really good base to go off. And instead of thinking of things just from the off, we have a really good starting point. So Now I'm going to take a quick look and look at what things that we need. So full screen, CTA, secondary CTA. Property search tool, we can, so at the moment Squarespace's search isn't fantastic, but what we can do is, let's imagine this is featured properties, and we can take this off, because we don't want that, we don't want that. However, what we could do is move this over here and this over here and say that this one is a featured, or let's say property of the week, and we'll make this a tad bigger, and then we can move things back, make this a tad bigger, and then move it back again. What I'm going to do is make this, let's try bold. That doesn't quite work. Let's keep it just like that. Okay, great. And if I look at this, maybe I could shrink it one, and I could shrink this one too. So let's move that up. And I'm thinking, okay, this is high net worth individuals. We're going to want something more. We're going to want something really classy. So again, just move this, reshape it until you get it right. Now to me, I think that's nice. So we would change the name of this text. So let's just say, Luxury Grove, Lux Villas, what else? Luxury something. We'll just do Hollywood, and then I'll do LA mansion. You can see that's changed the text. So what you need to do is highlight, and this looks like is that H3? No, it's a H4. So you can change the sizing of your text like so. Then under here, I'm probably going to put some prices. So Luxury Grove is coming in at 2,500,000. Let's just copy that across. This one's going to come in at 5 million. Hollywood is going to come in at a relative bargain of, we'll do 1 million. And then the LA mansion can be 45 million. So if I just move myself down here, we don't want shop or, because that doesn't make any sense. What we would probably say is book a viewing. That makes more sense. Book a viewing, and that's dragged everything up. So you just want to be cognizant of the fact things can move around. So I'm highlighting these, and then I'm using my arrow key to just move it back down like this. And then I'm going to resize this button to where it was, which was book a viewing. If we double click, this needs to then go to contact, where we're going to have our booking in. So there we go. Amazing. Feature properties. And then if we don't like these AI generated properties, that's okay. Double click, replace. And then we're going to browse some stock imagery and say luxury home. Obviously you can upload, if it's for your client, something bespoke to them. So let's look at this one. That looks good. We'll do this one next. So replace, and we'll do Hollywood. Hollywood home. Let's try that one. That will do. And then within all your images, you want to just give them a file name and alt text. So in this instance, it would be Hollywood home for the file name, and then here it would be double height ceiling home in Hollywood with woman sat on couch. And you can go more granular than that, but alt text, basically it improves accessibility for users who may have different accessibility needs. So pop that on all the images across the site, and you can see it's coming together as per the brief. Now our services, let's just take a quick look. So we've got feature properties, carousel of top listings. We can do this on the actual property page itself. Here we go. Luxury of the week. Let's just quickly put this in. Perfect. Save. Make sure that everything is as it should be on here. And you can see, because this was on the last one, it's actually gone over here. So what we need to do is actually move this up to the top. So I'm dragging it. I need to highlight it so it doesn't get lost. And then I'm just going to bump this up with the arrow. So this is a text block. And then there's a shape block behind it so it doesn't get lost within the different images. So if I'm just looking at this, Luxury Grove, is that correct? Yeah, that is correct. Okay, cool. So we're going to stretch this across like so, and then we're going to grab that shape block and move it up. So arrows as I scroll, and that is going to sit nicely behind here once I've done the shape. There we go. So social proof, testimonials, what we can do, because that wasn't in, is we can put a section in and look for a templated section on testimonials. What do we like the look of? I think this one looks good. And we'll want to change the name, obviously. So this is what's called a list section. If we go into edit content and then content, we can change the title. So testimonials, and then you can add in what everyone's saying here. So click in, add the image of the person, what they say, and then who they are. You can also then go into design and change the style and the size of like the text and how this is presented. I can also see here trust seals or awards. So top 10 luxury realtors of 2024. What we can do is we can put something just above here. So under our server, in fact, let's make this in our ethos. So we can put like a small heading above here. We'll do H4 and just have this as like a call out. In fact, we can do something even better. If I delete this, we can move this down. We can then add a block, add a text block. Put this up here. I'm going to paste that text in. And then what we can do is center align the text, add a block, and then a shape block. And we're going to sit that behind the text like so. So maybe we'll double height it. Then we're going to go into edit and we're going to change this. And then we're going to change the radius to, let's just do 100. The color can be, we'll do white on this. And then if we sit this behind, stretch it out, we can then stretch our text out and make sure it's center aligned like so. So you can see we've got this really nice little trust signal here. What I would like to do is probably make this smaller. So maybe a P2, make it bold. And then we can make this a tad smaller so it's not taking over too much from the rest of the page. Then all we need to do is grab this image, take it down, align the text again with this text, and we're looking good. So then if we double click on the form, we're going to call this homepage contact form. And then if we click on storage and email notification, this is where we can put the email of the client or of your site. Pop that in, all email submissions will go to that email and it will have a title of which page it was on. So then all we need to do is go into footer. We're going to have our pages in here. Make sure these, if we double click, are all linked up to the correct pages. Then we make sure our mobile version is good. So we click up here. The blue notification that you just saw will tell you that something has changed like this, that you need to then fix or at least check on the mobile version. Make sure it's resized and it all looks good. And once you're happy, again, you can hit save. So that's now our homepage done. Now, obviously you can take a lot longer on this, presiding over it over time. And you may not like this. You may think, oh, I would tweak that or tweak that. this is the beauty of Squarespace. You can go in and you can tweak the styles, all of these styles behind me, miscellaneous. You can even change the animation. So if I want things to slide up to make it look even more luxury, make it slow, that has a luxury feel to it. Then you can change things like spacing, so the margins on the site, the spacing of the text, the spacing of the grids, all of this. But this is more so about the AI side. So you've seen the setup, you've seen me playing with the site. So if I scroll through, you can now see everything is looking really, really sharp, like so. All we then need to do is make our other pages. So we click on pages and we're going to change this one. So double click and we're going to call this properties. And I want about to be before properties. So I'm going to drag this up and sit it there. I've got appointments. So I'm going to click on this and click edit. All I want to do is save this section. So if I save this section, you can see it now lives under saved sections. Exit. Now I can bin this, confirm, go to contact. I'm going to click edit. And in here, underneath, what I'm going to do is put a map. So we want people to be able to visit the agency, in which case we're going to go to, let's see, does it live in about or does it live in contact? Let's see. I actually can't see anything at all here. So what you'll notice on Squarespace is you can have your templated sections, but you can also have templated pages. So I'm not quite happy with this. If I click plus and I go to page layouts, I can then go into contact and then I can find a better page that I like. So I'm going to choose one with a map. Let's go with this. And I quite like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as well. Hit save, straight out. Hit the bin, get rid of that. Now, if we go back into contact, we can just do this sort of section by section build. So edit, close that out, and then add a section, save section. We've got our map. This is going to show us, okay, here's our address, here's the map. What I would like to do is get rid of the contact details because we've already got those up top. We can keep this in. But I love a full bleed map. So we can just drag this and I'm going to make all of this much bigger. So H2 and we'll move that over to the left like this. Underneath, I'm going to put a new section and we'll do this, the reserve an appointment. There we go. So you can reserve basically a viewing for a property. I'm liking the look of this. Hit save and exit. Mobile optimize, obviously. And we can see that that is really coming together. And it's only taken, about half an hour? So one thing I'm noticing about the hero section as well, and Squarespace AI, it's not going to get this perfect, is it's book now. I don't want book now. So edit site header, double click on book now. We want that to go down to book an appointment. We don't need this because we've already got contact up in the header. Now we could have this as contact. If we wanted to do that, we'd say contact us. And then we would edit the link and we'd send that to contact. Click on that. And then we don't want two contacts in the header. So what we would do is just simply drag this out. We would drag home into here. And then you can see our header now is, or it should refresh actually. There we go. We've got home, about, properties, contact. Now if we quickly refer back to our brief, we've got home, about, current properties, blog, and contact. So all we need to do now is add current properties and blog. And that's really, really easy. So if I click on plus and then blog, we've got layouts to choose from here. I'm going to go for a nice, simple grid blog. Just put the title in and then it's going to take us into the blog itself. And obviously AI isn't going to do the blogs for us, but we can get a good starting point. So go into blog content and let's say you want to publish a blog about real estate. Click on here and we can see in our brief that we've got some articles around top luxury properties in New York for 2024. Let's use that as a start point. Click in here. We're going to click these three dots, and this is Squarespace's generative AI, and you can watch the walkthrough video here. But if we click OK, we can do a prompt. So write a blog about, and we're going to let it do its thing. So you can't just publish this verbatim because it would be copyright, but it's a really, really good place to start. And so Squarespace is going to list out this whole thing. You can then take whatever it writes, spin it up into like a full blog, and then get that out there, publish it. And that's going to, like it says here, it's going to drive leads. So it's going to allow people to comment. Squarespace blogs allow comments. Then it's going to hopefully generate leads. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment, or how to enable that anyway. So let's imagine, it's finished. We'll do it after number 5. That will do. Actually, it's almost done here, so we'll let it run its course. Got a nice conclusion. Okay, great. So that's done. If you want to add some images, well then, great. We'll add an image under here by clicking plus, add in the image, and this one's for Manhattan. So I'm going to just copy Manhattan, then we're going to go from 3 images, Manhattan, and we can pop an image in like so. What you can also do in blogs, it's not just images and text. We can add videos in, we can add newsletter signups, we can do summary blocks. So for instance, if we want to keep people on reading, click plus, we can add a summary block, and if we click into select a page, we're going to go for blog, and you can see it pulls in other blogs here. So let's bring this between these two, and then if we double click again, we can change the design. So I'm going to change this to a carousel. We'll say number of items, as many as we want. We're going to take off this strange title, and then what we can do is put another title underneath and say want to read more, browse related articles, and we'll change this into a header, so probably a H3 like so, and we can even put a CTA at the bottom, so a button like so, and we can say book your viewing today and link that to the contact page. So you can see that even though AI has started us off, there's still a lot of work that goes into a Squarespace website and any website in general, because there's just context and nuance that AI will never be able to replicate. If you want to have a blog, a store, all of these things, you still need to put the content in. But it gave us a great start, and you can see it spun up that article like super quick. If you are, for instance, a real estate agency and you want to just get tons of people want to move to a location. Oh, what is there to do in Hollywood? Best property places in Manhattan. Then you can spin those articles up really quick, have a human humanize it, spin it, send it out, get leads, and it's great. Now, we've got this done. If I click in settings, I can give it a thumbnail. So we'll just use this one. And then if we go to excerpt, we can again have AI write it. So write an excerpt for a blog about, there we go. And you can see it's written the excerpt, probably too long. So what I'm going to do is redo that prompt because that's insanely long. Write a 50-word excerpt for a blog about, and then paste that back in. And that's not brilliant, but it gives us, again, just a starting point. So once that's done, you can give it a URL, you can give it an author, source URL, you probably won't want to do that. Options, we can then add tags and we can add categories into here. and we can also enable comments. So hit save, and once we go back into our main blog page, you can see it's not quite published yet. So what we want to do, because it's in draft, is click on here, click edit, and then we're just going to publish that now. So once we go back into that main blog by clicking here, you can see we've got the thumbnail, the excerpt, it's too long, or it's too long to display. So we click edit, edit the section, and we're going to switch off excerpts like so. Where is it? There we go. Hide that, much better. Now I'm going to quickly go into like the property list. Then I'm just going to go through, spruce everything up with a human touch, and I'll show you the finished product. So before I let you go, let's go back into here. We're going to move blog. I always think it should go in terms of the header, home, about, services, blog, store, contact, something like that. In this case, we only have home, about, blog, properties, and contact. So that's the way I would put it. Then if we go into properties, what we can do is we can use something called a list section. And so we've been through that with the testimonials. I like the look of this, and we can put featured properties here, which would match our brief. We can have that book now, which is going to go through to appointments, but we are going to set that to contact because we've changed it. That's all looking good. These will be featured properties. So we will move this up, we'll move this up, and then, let's imagine they're the properties from the home page. Now between this and this, we're going to put our list section. So if we go to people, we can use this, and we're going to replace these with property images. So imagine each of these people is actually a property. If we go into edit content and content again, we can add, let's just call this Hollywood again. And then we can have a price, a description, and then we can also have a link in here. So book appointment, or let's say book viewing. If we highlight this, that's going to link, and then again we would just book through or link through to contact, and you can see we've got that little link underlined there. So what I'll do is I'll probably add a few more of these. If we go into content, you can see that I can just continue to add and add, so we can have a wall of properties. Then I will just go through, make sure all the images look correct. So every client who I have, I will run through a 28-point checklist. So things like, are the images correct? Are they compressed? Do they have alt tags? Does the text make sense? Does everything link? So no broken links. Have we changed the icon? So if I move my screen down, you can see we've got the Squarespace icon. We don't want that. We want the actual logo of the company. So make sure that's in. I'll quickly show you where that is now. If we click / on our keyboard, if we go into settings and then we go down to favicon, this is where we can add the logo. But, that's a tangent. That's not AI. I've shown you pretty much everything that AI can do. Set up the site, do the images, do the text, do the blogs, do the excerpts. It is a really great starting place. Now I'm going to fill it in because it needs a human to fill things like this in. I'll do that, show you the finished product, and then give you some actionable points that you can then take away and hopefully apply to your own website. So we did it. I've spent probably about 15 minutes just tidying everything up, selecting the right imagery, doing like a little bit of correction here and there. So I'll run you through it now. If I refresh this, you can see we've got the nice, well, we're in the editor, so it's not so nice. But when it loads up, you can see everything slides up. It's really clean. It sticks to that luxury feeling of the brief. So if we scroll down, you can see everything smoothly comes in like so. I added a few different things. So for instance, in here, I added this overlapping element just to bring the sections together. AI is not going to do that. Then testimonials, we obviously got them. I changed the white to just plain. I think that looks better. Again, something with AI, it doesn't really have taste. Squarespace, apparently, they are trying to make their AI different. Who isn't? But they're trying to train their algorithm in a certain way that it does have taste. So for the images in particular. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, I think this works. I got the contact form. I cleaned up the form at the bottom. I added social links. I added the proper links. And then I added the newsletter in here. So you can see you got the featured properties, luxury of the week, services, testimonials, company ethos, about the company, contact footer. All this looks really strong. I will move me off the screen and just show you basically how this looks without me in there. So we scroll down, you can see really clean. Everything links up. The imagery is beautiful. It's really clear what is sold on the site. It's really clear what the services are. You can go through those. The beautiful imagery really does a lot of the talking here. We've got lots of social proof that users can scroll through. We know, okay, who the company is. We can get in touch with the real estate agency. We can learn more about them down here. Now we can go into the About page. So this is pretty bare bones, I would say. But this is just what AI spat out, and then I rejigged these sections here. And one thing you can do, which is really nice on the Squarespace AI builder, is something called layout switcher. So if we go into edit, and then let's say you're not overly keen on this, you can view layouts, and Squarespace is actually going to create layouts based on what's in that section. Now this works a lot better when it's a section that Squarespace has made with its own AI, because otherwise you get these really shoddy layouts. So for instance, this page, if I take out the shape block, which I added, and I say, okay, Squarespace, let's view your layouts. You can see this is much, much nicer in terms of what it suggests. It makes a whole lot more sense because Squarespace is responsible for all of the content that was actually added in. So if you want to, quickly experiment, then you can do so with that. It just takes, I'll bring me back in, it just takes that mental burden off you if you are designing your own website, thinking of different ways. I'm assuming you're not a designer. You're building this for your business website. It's nice not to have to think, because if you wanted a designer to do it, you would pay them. And so I think this is really effective for getting ideas and iterating on those ideas. So we'll go back to About. You can see here, pretty bare bones, as I say. It's got the social links in. I got a team image, some real estate, and then the begin your journey, which will send the user to another page. I think that should actually say view properties. So we'll just say view properties. And then we'll edit this to go to properties. Hit save and exit. And that's just reminded me, yet another point of the checklist is to go through all of the URLs. So if I go into properties, because we've renamed that from services, you can see it's still services. Let's copy and paste that in to here, hit save, and now that's all linked up. So the whole point of the checklist is to catch all of these things. So just make sure when you are trying to launch a website, and AI, I'm sure it does make mistakes, and especially if you're changing what AI does or what AI has done for you on the site, go through and check everything. No broken links. Make sure everything actually links to somewhere. Some links may just be completely dead. Some links may just, not be linked anywhere. Make sure your header is correct. So home, about, blog, make sure it all makes sense. Make sure you like the design. Make sure, you're hitting your own brief. We're staying as true as possible to the brief that we've been given here. Make sure that all makes sense. We quickly go into the blog. I'll show you how that's looking. So I added some thumbnail imagery, a couple of titles in, and you can see how this would start to look. Once that gets populated, that blog will be beautiful. It will be a lead generation magnet. Lovely thumbnails, captivating titles, good content within, strong content, well-researched content, newsletter sign up, maybe have a summary block where we keep people on site, and then a CTA, call to action to get in touch, book a viewing on a property. Then we've got the properties, so you can showcase what's live on the site here. Our properties, a bit about it, some featured properties up here. Then we scroll down to browse all properties. I've put some random places in here, a small description, and then we've got book a viewing. So a book a viewing functionality where people can say, okay, I can see the property here. I can see where it is, how much, a little bit more about it. Okay, I'm going to book a viewing, go through to the contact page, and then, again, we can book now, complimentary consultation, courtesy of AI. That will go through to contact us. Contact us is a button. Click on there. That's going to take us through to our contact page, which is nice and sleek. We've got the imagery, the form, details, again, just demo details, but details all the same. We've got a map with scrollable feature. We can zoom in, we can click. That's going to take us to the Google My Business listing for the company. And then if people want, they can reserve an actual in-person appointment using Acuity scheduling on Squarespace. So that is that. The beauty of all of this is that on Squarespace, it's completely customizable. You have full control over absolutely everything. So for instance, on the properties, if we were to go into edit, you can see that we can change the featured properties. So when there's loads, we can double click on the image and we can change that. We can change the text. We can change the price. If we go into properties here and click edit content, we can move things about depending on how far up we want them to be. We can click in, we can change the title, description, the link to book a viewing if it needs to go to a third party. We can add things in. We can, when it's sold, we can just click bin, go back. We have full granular control over everything. And this is why I really champion Squarespace. I think it's the Goldilocks of all platforms. We've now got the AI builder where it will give us a great foundation, and it does most things better than most other platforms. I truly believe it's the best all-rounder on the market, and this AI blueprint and Squarespace AI in general is another improvement to that platform that's just going to make it even better over time. So obviously this was like a really quick build. It's probably taken less than an hour for me to build something from scratch completely. I have builds that will take weeks, sometimes months. We go into way more detail. We do custom code, really, really big project. So if you want me and my team to design and build a bespoke website, then you absolutely can. You can get in touch using the links in the description. If you just want to use AI and then sort of fiddle around and figure it out, like you can see here, then absolutely go for it. Hopefully you found this video useful. I think this is a fantastic starting point for most DIYers coming onto Squarespace. If you did find it useful, please make sure to leave a like and hit subscribe. And if you did use Squarespace blueprints, comment the link to your website below and I would love to check it out. And on that note, I will leave it there. I'll see you in the next one.